you have any sort of hip pain, sciatic pain, low back pain or tightness, this can be a really nice stretch to do. The important thing is we do this because we're going to be working on gliding or stretching the nerve, the sciatic nerve that comes down the back of our leg. We want to be really mindful of what we're feeling. Now, this is not something where you just keep pushing and it should feel better after a while. You're just going to go as far as you can comfortably tolerate. This should not be uncomfortable. And if you start to notice that something's starting to get sore, stop, come back to it later and give it another try, because it can just continue to irritate that nerve if you keep pushing through it. A couple of things that we want to talk about. One, body position and head position are very important for this. We're going to be doing a hinging motion from our hip. We want to make sure that as we hinge forward into our stretch here in a minute, it's truly coming from our hip pivoting forward rather than arching and slouching through the back. The other thing is we want to keep our chin and neck in this starting position. So even as my head comes forward as I hinge, my neck does not move. I'm not letting my head extend upward like this. The other thing is our foot position can also make a difference on this. I'm going to show you two different options that you have to work on your sciatic nerve. First of all, we're going to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to stretch my right leg, so I'm placing it straight out in front of me. Now this is a true stretch of the sciatic nerve. I want to have my toes pulled up towards me, sit up nice and tall through my torso and hinge forward from my hip, going forward until I start to feel a stretch down the back of my leg, behind my knee, or into my calf. It could be that you can go all the way down. Maybe you just barely move forward. Just go to where you start to feel the beginning of that stretch sensation. You can use your hands on this opposite leg for some support, and you're just going to hold for a couple of seconds and then come right back up. Again, hinging forward from my hip, straight forward until I feel a bit of a stretch, hold for a few seconds, and then come back up. Option number two is what we call a glide. The way that I like to explain the way that the sciatic nerve works is almost like a piece of floss through a straw. We should be able to kind of pull it back and forth. And with this gliding idea, that's sort of what we're imagining is happening. This time, instead of keeping my foot flexed the entire time, I'm going to flex my foot up while I'm sitting up tall. And then as I hinge forward at my hip, I'm going to let my toes drop down towards the floor as far as is comfortable. And then as I come back up, I bring my toes back up. So now my toes and my foot are going together instead of my foot staying still and my body coming down towards it. Let me show you this from a side angle as well. Okay, we're going to go over both of those positions again, just so you can watch from the side what's happening. I'm going to show you on my other leg. I'm going to have my right leg bent, my left leg out in front of me. For the sciatic nerve stretch, I want that foot to be pulled up towards me, toes up towards me, nice and tall through my torso, and hinge forward from my hip, going just until I feel anything down my leg, hold for a few seconds, and then come back up. Trying to keep that leg as straight as I can as I do that stretch. Then for the sciatic nerve glide, I start nice and tall with my toes flexed up towards me, but then as my torso goes forward, so does my foot. It all travels together. And then as I sit my torso back up, my foot comes up along with it. This one, there's not so much of a hold in either position, but just a nice, slow, steady movement back and forth.